I talk a lot about my top coasters. Every year, I unveil my top 50, even my top 100. I did my top 15 coasters by the numbers. I thought of ways to improve my top 25 coasters. But today, let's take a closer look at my number 1 to number 25 and see what's out there that's worthy of taking one of those spots. These are 15 coasters that could crack my top 25. First, thanks to Johnny McWilliams for this video idea. If you have any ideas for videos that I should do in the future, be sure to leave them in the comments below. I read as many comments as I possibly can, so odds are I will see it. My top 25 is full of rides that offer awesome forces, especially, but not exclusively, airtime. There are some very unique and forceful coasters on my top 25, like Time Traveler and X2, and the first one out of my top 25 is TMNT Shellraiser, so its near clone, Takabisha, will just miss this list also. Speaking of just missed, here are some honorable mentions. Vekoma has come out with two awesome looking coasters, one being Let Coaster at Legendia, and the other being Phoenix at Faroop Summerland. These aren't all that big, but they have intense airtime and whippy inversions. These would still probably be top 50, but what keeps them off this list is the vest restraints. If these had lap bars like Pantheon or Velocicoaster, that would be awesome. Phoenix even had those in the animation. I just don't think they can be top 25 with those vests. Fly at Fantasialand is yet another Vekoma, and it's unlike anything else out there. It's a launch flying coaster, and it has a great setting around a village. Flying coasters are fun, but none of them currently live anywhere near my top 25, so I doubt this one would break through. Wood Coaster at Night Valley looks like it could be the best GCI in the world. I do have one GCI in my top 25, Mystic Timbers. This could very well top it and make the list, but I just don't know. If it's rough, or if it doesn't have a lot of airtime, it could slide back into top 50 or top 100 range. Last one, Schwer des Karnen at Hansa Park. This definitely has the interesting factor. A Hyper Gerstlauer Infinity with surprise elements, an enclosed drop. How does this thing even exist? I may love it, or I may think it's overrated. I will have to leave this off for now, but I really hope to get to Germany one day and ride it. Number 15. Superman El Altomo Escape at Six Flags Mexico. I've ridden Morgan Hypers and they aren't good. They have potential, but the ones I've ridden just are not good. Steel Eel is the best one, and that's not even a hyper, but it does have some outrageous airtime in the first half. I don't include Vanton's Revenge on here, just because it's not a Morgan original. Apparently, Superman at Six Flags Mexico unlocks all that potential, and it provides a crazy airtime-filled intense ride. It's hard to believe this is possible, but it seems like everyone who rides it absolutely loves it. It sounds like this could be a ride like Magnum XL200, and that's number 12 on my list. Number 14. DC Rivals Hypercoaster at Warner Bros. Movie World. This Australian hyper was made by Mach Rides, and I've never ridden a Mach hyper. There aren't many out there, but they're said to be among the best. This has a twisted drop, a non-inverting loop, airtime all over the place, over 4,500 feet of track. On its own, it seems like it could be great. You can also ride this backwards, which sounds like a scary gimmick. Because I've never ridden a Mach hyper, I have nothing to compare it to, so that's the only reason it's lower. I'm not sure if I will love it to make it top 25 worthy. Number 13. Colossus at Hyde Park. This German Woody was the original Intamin prefab, and it looks great. We almost lost it back in 2016, but Hyde Park paid for a major retrack, and 3 years later, it came back better than ever. With over 4,400 feet of track, standing 164 feet tall, almost hitting 70 miles per hour, this is loaded with airtime hills. If the airtime is anything near my current number 3, El Toro, this looks like it has the goods to make my top 25. Number 12. Shambhala at Port Aventura. I love me a good B&M hyper, and this one from Spain looks like it could be the best. It has a 255-foot drop. That's enormous. It's exactly the same as Goliath at Magic Mountain. Plus, it almost has a mile of track. People who have ridden this seem to agree it's the best one out there. I have 4 B&M hypers in my top 25. That's including a new one I added this year. You'll have to wait till December to see which one. But anyway, Shambhala would probably be among those 4 and be good enough for my top 25. Number 11. T-Express at Everland. We're only going to Korea once on this video, and we're making it count. T-Express is yet another Intamin prefabricated Woody, just like Colossus and El Toro, but this one looks the best. For years, this has been near the top of my wish list. It's the newest one, 14 years old now, with over a mile of track, a 151-foot drop, big airtime hills in the first half, and small airtime hills in the second half. I do worry about this one. All the other prefabs have had major track problems, and as the newest one, T-Express may be next. This has long 36-passenger trains, and I would love to sit in the back row and get tossed around by T-Express. Number 10. Untamed at Wallaby Holland. RMC does seem to be getting better and better. They seem to have figured out what elements work best, and when they got the call to overhaul Robin Hood, they knew exactly what to do. 120 feet tall, over 3,500 feet of track, 5 inversions. RCDB says 4, but they advertise 5. Every RMC hybrid is in my top 50, but not all of them are in my top 25. Iron Rattler is currently my number 25, and I think this would rank higher than that. Number 9. Wildfire at Kolmarden. I know I've said it before, but this is at a Swedish zoo. Who goes to a Swedish zoo to find a top 25 coaster? This RMC Topper Track wooden coaster is so massive. 184 feet tall, over 4,100 feet of track, 3 inversions, uses terrain in the second half, has an amazing setting by the water. If this is running well, there's no doubt it cracks my top 25. RMC Topper Tracks have a bad habit of getting rough very fast, and at 6 years old, that's enough time to make it unpleasant. That could keep it out of my top 25. But I haven't heard any bad stories about its roughness, so I'll give it the benefit of the doubt. This should be top 25. Number 8. Conda at Wallaby, Belgium. Intamin has been on a roll over the last 2 years, Conda being possibly the best new coaster. It's a custom mega coaster, 164 feet tall, 70 miles per hour, almost 4,000 feet of track. That's all impressive, but the elements look better. It has a massive outer banked hill, a non-inverting cobra roll. Yeah, that only exists on one coaster, this one. It ends with so many airtime moments. It also uses those glorious new age lap bars. I've been loving all of Intamin's new stuff, and even though it's a lift hill and not a launch like all the new American Intamins, it seems like this was built to be top 25 worthy. Number 7. Expedition Geforce at Holiday Park. I've always been fascinated by this German Intamin mega coaster. It's kind of the first generation, while Conda represents the next generation, but this one might still be better. The stats are very similar. This one is a bit taller, and this doesn't have the same fancy elements. It looks more like crude airtime, and that's fine with me. This has been sitting at the top of my bucket list for a long time, and I'd be very disappointed if this did not find its way into my top 25. Number 6. Air Force One at Fun Spot Atlanta. There's only one American coaster on this list, and here it is. I wanted to ride this when I went to Florida this summer, but they are taking forever to finish this ride. That's not really a knock, just an observation. This small park is building one major hybrid. 155 feet tall, 3,400 feet of track, all kinds of wacky elements. A triple down, 4 inversions, airtime galore. It looks like it could be easily a top 5 RMC, and if it is, forget top 25. We're talking about top 10 or 15. Number 5. Hakuge at Nagashima Spaland. Talking about massive RMCs, this Japanese hybrid was once known as White Cyclone, a giant Intamin wooden coaster, and RMC took advantage of every last inch of that ride. 180 feet tall, over 5,000 feet of track, 3 inversions. I know at first people were down on this layout, but then people wrote it and confirmed the critics were wrong. It turns out Hakuge is a top tier hybrid, and I would love to see it for myself. Number 4. Ride to Happiness at Plopsaland. Another coaster from Belgium. This mock extreme spinner might be the best coaster in the world. That's what people are saying. Time Traveler is in my top 25, and apparently Ride to Happiness makes that look tame by comparison. Over 3,000 feet of track, 108 feet tall, 56 miles per hour, 5 inversions, 2 launches. Doing all this while spinning. I gotta see this thing to believe it. This was possibly the biggest hit of 2021. Well, at least of coasters that don't rhyme with Schlamassel coaster. Number 3. Dinoconda at China Dinosaurs Park. When aerodynamics went under, SNS took over their 4th dimension model. They improved on the prototype, X2, with 2 installations. One of them was Dinoconda. This has a 226-foot drop, hitting a top speed of 78 miles per hour, almost 3,500 feet of track, 3 inversions, including a 0G roll. X2 is in my top 15, so it seems logical that X2 2.0 would be higher. Number 2. Aijanika at Fuji-Q Highland. You knew this was coming next. One thing I have to see to believe is the height on this. If you know Magic Mountain, imagine X2 but as tall as Goliath. That's Aijanika. Not many people I know have ridden Dinoconda, but more people have gotten to Japan to ride Aijanika, and their reviews couldn't be any better. It's clearly one of the best and craziest rides in the world, and I can't imagine getting off and thinking X2 is better. This would almost, for sure, end up in my top 25. Number 1. Zadra at Energylandia. You knew Energylandia would end up on this list at some point. Zadra is a beast. the only true ground-up RMC Hyper Hybrid. And if the 206 feet in height wasn't enough, the 4,300 feet of track or 75 miles per hour weren't enough, or even the 3 inversions. This has the best pacing of any RMC coaster in the world. This Polish RMC looks like one of the best coasters in the world, period. So the question isn't where it ends up in my top 25, it's where it ends up in my top 5. Of all the coasters in the world that I have not yet ridden, I am most confident that Zadra would end up near the top of my list. That's all for the coasters that should be in my top 25. I left a lot out. There are some awesome coasters like Nemesis, Hyperion, Terran, and others. But even if I loved them like I bet I would, they wouldn't be top 25 worthy. That's the top 4.5% of all my credits right now. So that's some ultra elite company. Let me know what you think of these, if you've ridden them, and if they're high on your list, or maybe if they were a disappointment. Sound off in the comments below. Before you go, don't forget to drop a like. It really helps out the channel. And if you're new here and love coasters, please give me a sub for more content just like this. Also, check out my links below for my Discord server, and my second channel where I post copyright-free off-ride footage, and my baseball channel if you also happen to love baseball. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next time.